Back here in Maine, an investigation is underway after Portland firefighters battle flames in two separate fires at the same apartment building. Not only that, more than 50 snakes had to be removed from one of the apartments. Crews first arrived to 23 Pembroke Street Thursday afternoon after a small fire was reported in the third-floor apartment. Officials said it started near a ceiling fan. Another call came in for the same building yesterday morning at about 4:30. Flames could be seen coming out of the roof when firefighters arrived. Multiple witnesses saw a lightning strike in the area. Fire officials haven't been able to determine if that was the cause of this fire.
So there's extensive fire damage throughout the building, and there were no injuries, no pets that I'm aware of that are injured. They're evacuating a bunch of snakes right now.
Yes, you heard that right. Snakes, 56 of them. Fire officials said the owner of the building lived on the first floor. Again, the cause of both fires is still under investigation.